calendar about how we structure this. She's got a wonderful letter that she's already structured the beginning and ending for us. But I think what's really important, I think, is that we decide what the guts is going to be about, so that we can put something together that next Tuesday will be presented to our TRAC committee for them to input and then hopefully approve. And then the following Wednesday, it'll go to the board. Okay. And so I don't think we have to follow Robert's Rules of Orders. There's so few of us. If you have something to ask, just ask it or raise your hand, Gloria, because this to me is not just about me. It's not just about Mary Ann. It's not about PSTA. It's about us deciding what we want to take to the committee. So if I sound bossy, override me, please. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not trying to force anything. I want this to be our decision, our group decision.
And I'd like to thank Dave, Portia, and Elizabeth for volunteering to do this.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I'm thrilled that you guys are doing this. This has been so encouraging to me as we've put these initiatives together, how excited I'm seeing different people in the committee being about these programs. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about basically our goals for what we're doing here. And I mentioned about the letter being part of it as being something to go to the board. Do you have any other thoughts about what you see as being a goal of these initiatives from your standpoint?
Getting out of the house and going end to end, on and off the bus. Getting off the bus can be a problem because the bus stops are not cleared. The landscaping will be falling into the sidewalk, and bus drivers will feel they're being helpful and go to a driveway instead, but that's kind of tricky when you have a tilt wheelchair. The driveway doesn't help. I need to be on the sidewalk. So if I'm on the sidewalk, I can do it. I'm pretty good at getting around. But little things like that, and the ramps need to be cleaned up and refinished or redone in a lot of places so I don't get stuck. And also traveling, there's one place I just go out on the road because the ramp can't get me up there. So I just go quick as I can down 82nd until the road, and I cut it back into the road.
Okay, that's what we'll need, the exact location.
Yes,
so that's 82nd.
That becomes a piece of it, but
Okay,
taking a step back, yeah, and I agree. I think these are important things, but I think the step back is going to the board. The first thing is what I heard Elizabeth saying is that it's not safe for me, and I need someone to pay attention to the fact. One of the notes that I had about these initiatives is, and I had sent, where is that? That I had sent to you guys originally. That basically I see these as being also a chance for us to, as regular riders of PSTA, tell people what we know that non-drivers, non-riders may not know. We as members of the Transit Riders Advisory Committee are talking to the board and to the boards of Clearwater, St. Pete, Largo. So we're riding public transportation, which everyone agrees is a public good. It's an important community benefit. And if you're not regularly riding it, let us tell you about what we see as regular riders.
And why it's good, and why you've got some glitches that need to be, and how they can be improved.
How it can be improved. Yes.
You are the voice of the rider. We want to point out the good and the bad.
Right.
But in terms of safety, there are certain organizations that we will earmark to receive this letter.
Right, that we will target.
Right, so the reason why I was asking for the particular location,
That
if
would
you're
be-
being specific, we need to know the municipality,
Right.
and then we'll know who the governing board of that particular.
Okay, I can put together a short list of that
Okay.
kind of thing.
So, right. So we'll just, and that can be done on the slide, but we want to be specific, especially with respect even to your experience in countryside.
We all
Yes.
have, and
Right.
we have, Elizabeth and I have the experience of, well, when you're in a wheelchair, you have to have sidewalks, ramps, and stuff like that. You
Right.
have to. If you're a pedestrian, pedestrians don't even always know. When you're climbing across a grass berm, it's a pain, but it's like for us, we can't go across the grass berms. We have to go in the active car lanes. And
Right.
we're the
Yes,
ones
that is dangerous.
and
I've
we-
seen
that's right.
several people do it. I'm like, and then cars are right here.
Oh, and the cars are annoyed, justifiably.
And they're not happy about it, and they will tell you.
Sure, because
Why
they're
aren't
like,
you
why
on
is
the
this
sidewalk?
person in, yeah, that's right.
What sidewalk?
That's right, and there is no sidewalk. And so, but people that are driving in cars don't realize that the reason why Elizabeth and I are in those
Tricky
car lanes,
places.
or why the mother with the children in the stroller is doing the same thing, because her stroller can't go across the
Right,
road.
right.
And so,
Maybe,
yeah, so that's, I mean, that to me is part of what we're trying to achieve here. Now, I wanted to ask you, Dave, your notes, you talked about safety as more that safety, or at least the way I read it, was that safety is about, it is safer riding when people are riding the bus than driving cars. That's absolutely true.
Say that one again. That's really good.
People are safer riding in a bus
In
than
the
they are
bus.
driving
Yes,
cars.
yes.
In aggregate, that's absolutely true.
Yes.
Public transportation is safer than a boatload of cars, playing,
Yes.
tag
That's
on
what they look
19.
like, yes.
But is that where we want to focus this at this point? I mean, and again, I'm pushing toward a point that if you want to override me, please do. But I agree with that. I think that's something that we should talk about in certain contexts, but I'm not sure that I want it personally to be a part of this letter, unless it's just as a confirmation that this.
Well, one of the things that I've heard a lot from is that people are concerned about is it safe to ride a bus?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And when I get on the bus, am I going to be hassled? Am I going to be, have to listen to some rock music or something like that? And so that's a big concern. A lot of people, and they view the riders of the buses as unsafe people.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
So and also emphasizing the security and the safety of a bus ride and the ability to board a bus and deboard in a proper manner, in a safe manner. We're not going to leave you out in the middle of Ulmerton and 49th Street. I think is an important point because people don't understand that.
You're absolutely right, and maybe that is because we can say that, like what you're saying is that when there's a question about is it safe to ride a bus, it involves that in fact it is true that riding a bus is extremely safe.
Yeah.
But as a rider, the safety is not just the part when you're sitting in the bus, and that's the part and that's the other thing for me is that that's the only part that PSTA can really control.
Yeah.
That's why we're reaching out to our board, who is not people made up of people who are on PSTA or it work for PSTA. They work for the city of St. Pete, the city of Clearwater, the city of Largo, and so maybe it's about team building. We're building a team of focused on the safety of public transportation. The whole picture of safety of public transportation.
It's one of the things that some people might not know is that the bus driver, in some situations, will act to control the atmosphere of the bus.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they definitely
Appreciate
do.
that. I've seen it happen. I love it.
Yeah, our bus drivers are great.
Yes, they're trained to deal with those
Yeah.
situations.
I've
So
seen
we have to break that idea that it's not safe to ride the bus. And we are proof, the riders, how often you ride. TRAC can say, we ride, it's safe. But we've noticed these, and this is where we have to get at we've noticed
The
the
crux of
safety issues. And this is one of many initiatives that you have, of the 3 main initiatives. We have to, in a concise manner, point out a few, just a few bullets of the areas that we want to ask for the board's help and these organizations that we're sending it to address these issues.
And I'm calling it environment. The way you were describing it, it's the environment of the bus. And you've got the driver who, like an air marshal on the bus
Right,
to protect us and make sure everybody's happy and the
Right.
troublemakers will be taken care of.
right,
Right.
So the environment of the bus.
right.
And me in my tilt chair, there's enough friendly people to help little old me out when the tilt is not right. And they have to readjust me or help fix the ties in the back. But that's the kind of people are mostly like that, helpful.
Yeah.
But every now and then you'll get somebody who's not happy that their needs were touched on the way back. But the driver, that escalates, he can handle it. She can handle it.
Right.
They do.
The other thing too is that I don't think a lot of people realize the benefits when you're riding a bus. You're in an air-conditioned environment.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, and you're avoiding the 90+ degree humid heat in Florida.
Or the rain.
Or the rain.
Yes.
And also you have the ability to have Wi-Fi. So while you're on the bus, you can interact with the outside world through Wi-Fi. And the other thing too is that I just slipped my mind. Wi-Fi. I forgot what it was now.
Well, avoiding the traffic. I mean,
Well, yeah.
you know, bumper to
Yeah,
bumper.
the Tampa Bay Area, it has been reported a number of times that we're number 1 or number 2 in the nation for pedestrian deaths in the Tampa Bay area. And most of that is because, we try to cross the street.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that people know that if they ride the bus, that they're going to be, put off someplace where it's secure for them to cross the street if they need to. There'll be a crossing.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
So it's just,
Well, no, and it's, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is you're talking about, the benefits of ridership, and those are very real. And I think, the other thing is what we're doing here on the safety, these may translate to additional opportunities for other initiatives for the coming year too, you know what I mean? As well as if we're doing safety and regionalism and art in transit right now. Art in transit is also part of the image of the thing too as well.
I remember the third thing now is that, and this is real important, because we don't have the paper, we don't have paper schedules anymore. You can,
Yes.
if you're on the bus, you're on Wi-Fi, you have a smartphone, you can look up any bus you want to go to.
Right.
You can look up when they're going to be there. You have, so that's a safety feature. You're not going to be put someplace
Well, since
where
space.
you don't have, you're not going to be sitting for 45 minutes.
Right.
Or because of that app on the phone, you'll know that the amount of time that you're going to have to be there.
Right.
And, to be honest, I feel very safe in terms of the fact that we have the number for PSTA. I've never, I've got to believe that if something happens with the route being a problem, I guess there are drivers that are the ones that are the pickup drivers that go if there's a bus that breaks down, then a different bus comes. But there's also, PSTA is Johnny on the spot when something happens. I've seen that happen. So we're as close as a phone to,
Right.
And this month alone, Brad, our CEO, he's actually riding the bus
Yeah.
every day to and from. And he's
Mhm.
so far from the bus stop that he's riding a bike to the bus,
Is that
taking,
right? Wow.
and coming here, so.
I think
Good.
like
I'm so glad
everybody
he's
who
doing that.
worked in PSTA
Right.
should do that just
Right.
to get the experience. Like that should just be a part of the program somewhere. Like you are required to ride it for at least 1 month.
Right.
So you understand what it's like to be from our point of view. So you can
Right.
make their own changes because some people are higher than us
Right.
in the company and they know exactly who to go to, how to make changes, and how to make it work for everybody.
And I'm sure he'll share what he has experienced so
Right.
far.
Oh,
He's only on
absolutely.
his second week, but you can ask him.
Oh, I'm sure he's,
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
I'm sure
Sure.
he's experiencing
Sure.
stuff,
What have you
yeah.
seen, what are you experiencing?
Yeah.
But because of everyone's various experiences with not feeling safe or getting to and from, etc., we have to put this down on paper.
Absolutely,
in
and
a
that's
very
why,
concise way.
safety is, yeah.
Right.
Another thing about that app, using that app, say you have a bus and you're going to stop and you'll have 20 minutes between buses. That allows you to search the area, and if there's a gas station or convenience store or restaurant
Yeah.
or public toilet you can use right there, that's a very
Good time
good
to do
safety
that.
feature.
In the app.
And you know that you're not
So
going
we
to
have to
use.
push the app,
Mhm.
since we
Right,
don't have
right,
a meter.
Right, real-time schedule, modern
Yeah.
transit, this is all right. real
So
time.
we're coming up with that app, or is our?
Oh, yeah, no,
No,
real-time
it's-
schedule is an app that is,
On the PSTA side.
Okay.
yeah.
Because
It's-
of, now that I'm able to go back and forth, I have been going to Tampa, and they have a little things that are different that I like, and there's a whole list of things I don't like. I wish they had a TRAC committee, because they need one. Because
Yeah.
as far as safety, politeness, PSTA is on the money.
Wow.
When you go over there, there's some I've watched in and this is in the past, this is today, as a matter of fact, I watched this lady, and she's the bus driver, she is getting into a conversation with the actual passenger who was only asking, when is the next bus coming? I guess he didn't know where he was, and he was just confused, and she was not polite.
Wow.
I've watched another lady, the bus driver handled the situation to the best of her ability, but the lady, there was a language barrier, and she was blaming the actual bus driver, saying it was her responsibility to let her know when to get off. And she said, here's the McDonald's and stuff, but she can't hear. She has her fan on, and she's trying to control everything, and the bus actually shut down for a few seconds. And it was plenty of time for the lady to get off and get where she was going, but she just made this whole big rut, and I was trying to diffuse the situation. She started yelling at me, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stop, because I couldn't help her, and I was going to tell her, like, hey, I'm a part of this community, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to let her stick her own
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
And then their safety issues are a lot different from ours. And I can say, like I'll say once again, PSTA is on the money. The only thing that I really have concern is about the different ramps, infants getting on the bus. Like, that's my biggest thing. And like, I don't know if it's safe for them to hold their infants, or if there's something we can do. I don't know how to go about that.
That is a
Okay,
forever
so your
issue.
issues are, of course, the ramps, and then the
Infants, like infants that are on the bus, I know they have to take them out of the stroller and things like that, but then I see them holding them, and I'm like, yes, parents hold their child in their lap, and I'm not sure,
Right.
I'm not very, but I know that's not safe.
Right.
That's
you
a
get one
big
bump,
concern.
and it could be a problem.
Well, and in fact, that what you're describing, those are issues that PSTA can control,
Yes.
and PSTA should control.
Right.
That, I think that's exactly, and
And we
those are
will
things
bring
that,
that up, right.
I would bring that up for sure in the public or the member comment
Member
section of our
comments,
TRAC
right.
meeting.
Yes.
I would do that, even then, like
Right,
based
right,
on, at our safety meeting, we talked about things that PSTA can control. We don't need to go to the board with that, because the
Right.
board can't control
Right.
that, but right now we
These are
want to go to the
things-
board with the things that they,
And ask them what the infant
Right.
conduct is now officially, and who researched it, and why
The
did
policy.
you just say
What is
that
the-
policy?
Right, what is the policy? 'Cause I know that they're supposed to take them out of the
oh,
stroller.
you're supposed to take them out of the stroller.
Right,
and
which
out of
is
the
safe,
stroller.
but because I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't that be, one wrong bump, that thing could go flying, you don't want that.
Right.
So I'm not sure what they can do. And I do like how when people who are in a chair, they do stop what they're doing, but some people have an attitude, and I don't understand why, because that's a part of your job, but it seems to be getting controlled. I think it's more new people than the more experienced. I guess because maybe I don't find it hard at all, it seems pretty easy to do,
Mhm.
but
Oh, you mean the driver in terms of,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
maybe
Well,
it's a
these-
bad day,
right.
I don't know.
Well, these are all things that we can have the safety team present,
To
the new policy
PSTA.
to us, no, to
To
TRAC. We can have the
TRAC, yeah.
safety committee come in
Absolutely,
here.
yeah.
I mean, our safety. Thea
Yeah.
just came in, and there's always
Yeah.
someone here from safety.
Mhm.
They'd be happy to go over the policy.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So-
that may be a very good thing for it
And we
within
need
the
to
track.
go back to environment and the drivers.
Yes.
Like she says, they're on the money,
Right.
not like Tampa.
Well,
Right.
here's,
And push that.
let me go back
Yeah,
to,
you
what we're trying to put
right.
together,
Right.
yeah, what I had written down on my notes I had is, as regular riders of PSTA, again, what do we know that non-riders may not? And that we have that safety for transit riders involves the whole trip, end to end. Okay, when we choose to travel using public transportation, over using a private car, safety on the bus is just part of the equation. The buses are quite safe, the sidewalks are fairly contiguous and safe, obviously there are certain issues.
Mhm.
Bus stop safety is consistent with the sidewalks and roadways where they're located. Some bus stops are safer than others, and, I mean, again, it depends on where they are,
Mhm.
okay? Access, though, to private entities like stores and businesses are often poor and quite dangerous.
Mhm.
And so it becomes an issue of you take a bus to a location and you get off the bus and you can't safely get into those
Yeah.
major locations.
That's
Um,
the end to almost the end.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, end to end. Like if you want to take the bus to the mall. And part of that issue is, and I'd written down here, is that Pinellas County especially grew in an automobile-centric manner. This is something that the
Mhm.
Forward Pinellas talks about all the time too. Shopping centers and office complexes were not required to provide safe access from sidewalks and bus stops.
Right.
And yet 100% of the riders on PSTA buses are not arriving by car. Okay, new construction does adhere to current guidelines, but many of the existing centers have not been compelled to upgrade. Okay, by not having safety, it means that a number of us either choose not to ride, people choose not to ride. You talk about people saying, is it safe to ride? People will choose to ride. People that can are choosing DART, which is more expensive for everyone. Then, DART is if you qualify for, with a disability.
Okay.
But somebody who doesn't have a disability doesn't even have the option of doing that.
That's right, because I've seen the DART. I'm like, hey, the DART is here, but I don't see the other bus. I'm like, can
There
I
you
get
go.
on? But
Yeah,
I'm so
but
tempted
can't
to
ride.
try
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't because
You
you
know.
Right, and I don't even
fly.
go by because I'm like, I don't think I can, so I'm
Yeah.
just go the other way.
There's one more thing that I wanted to mention about safety on the bus, is that because they have the automated announcements, you will not miss your bus stop if you're paying attention.
That's right.
Correct.
Exactly right.
And
See,
that's
but again,
very
that's
good.
where PSTA is doing the right thing.
That's right.
They have the right sound things. I mean, they can do things better. Obviously, some of the policies. But I think this initiative we're putting together right now is for beyond PSTA.
Right.
We're saying we are the riders of PSTA, and we are here in Pinellas County, in Clearwater, St. Pete, Largo, Pinellas Park. We need all of you all to step up to the plate because PSTA is providing you with these safe buses, safe transportation, taking people off the roads, and yet when we're choosing to be in these buses, these PSTA buses, we are then having to brave some pretty dangerous stuff once we get off the bus.
Right.
Whereas if we went by DART, which will take us door to door, or if we went by private car, door to door, we wouldn't have to brave these things. And we're saying, let's make public transportation a smoother.
Yes. So that is going to be an ask of the board and of, could be chambers of commerce and the zoning departments of FDOT. When FDOT approves a site for a future, or if FDOT.
Yeah, it's not just FDOT. We're talking about like,
construction firms that build these places and don't build them thinking of the bus stop
Yes.
to the mall. There has
every
to be a
bus.
change in zoning. They should not get their permits
Right.
to
Well, that's for
operate.
future.
But that's not
because
FDOT though, yeah,
right.
it's Clearwater, it's St. Pete, no, they're the ones that give FDOT is only if, and in fact, FDOT doesn't control the. like,
I thought they build the
countryside
roads
malls.
and the entrances and the
The
pools.
entrances, but not, once it's on private property,
Mhm.
like when you're going up 19 and you come up to Countryside Mall, the sidewalk belongs to Clearwater
Yep.
at that point.
Mhm.
Even on the frontage road, the sidewalk
Right.
belongs to Clearwater, and then the parking lot belongs to Sears.
Yeah.
And, or the one by Sears does there.
Right.
And so, but Clearwater can compel Sears to do certain
Right.
things. FDOT doesn't
Oh.
say anything to
Oh,
Sears.
okay.
At least that's my
Oh, okay.
interpretation of what I've heard from
Okay,
asking
because
these.
it's
I know that part about
infrastructure.
that.
So that's one ask. That's one safety concern is however many deciding factors are involved, or how much money it costs, the bus stop to the place of business is not safe in many cases.
Right.
That's
Right.
number
And
one.
and it's because people aren't thinking of it. I
Right.
mean, honestly,
So we could bring that to their
So
attention.
education.
I have something for the
Mhm.
app. You know how like different weather conditions?
Mhm.
For the app, is there a way to like indicate whether the bus stop is sheltered or not?
that's a good question.
Mhm.
That ought to be.
Yeah, it should be, yeah,
Right.
it should
But again, that's something PSTA can control.
Right,
They
yes.
should, yes. And in fact, that's a good point. We're
Right.
there, what we've come up with is we've come up with ideas that PSTA can fix.
Yes.
Mhm.
And we've picked up on some stuff that PSTA can't.
Right.
And what this letter is about, what PSTA directly cannot
Right.
control.
Right.
Okay.
Okay?
The other ones can be addressed.
Right, that's why I said
Right,
it's
yeah.
kind of off topic.
Yeah, the
But
bus stop.
I know that's definitely
No.
a good thing to
Okay.
let people know, like, hey, this is shelter, because if it's raining and you're walking, and I know you all may not have to worry about this, but you want to get to the one where you're going to be covered because you're already wet and annoyed.
Oh,
and
we
you're
do,
ready
we
to
do,
go.
because our
Yeah, we do.
devices don't do well in the
Okay,
rain.
right,
either.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
But this way you know to go back one or forward one.
absolutely.
Exactly, so you know,
Yeah.
if you got to keep on trucking.
That's
Keep on
a
rolling.
great one to ask PSTA to make sure that the site has that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one ask, is that,
Here's something else that I thought of, because I mentioned in my letter that when you're standing on the side of the road, how dangerous that is, because those cars at 40 miles an hour, you're going 56 feet a second. And I would think it would be reasonable, I don't know how they would have to do it. You know, like these little round, like 4-inch tubes that are posted in concrete? Put those by the boarding area of the bus stop, so that anybody could be standing there and they could feel
Splash.
safe and secure.
Like
that they're
ballards,
not
yeah,
gonna-
like the ballards that they
Yeah.
put so that people.
Yeah, that you're not
Okay,
gonna
good
have
idea.
somebody,
Okay.
I like it.
run the
Right.
sidewalk and knock you over. Because it's like, I've been on 19 by Harn Boulevard several times when I was going to the chiropractor there. Oh my God, it was like sitting next to the Daytona 500.
Absolutely,
There-
it's
there
that's
is
true on
no space.
McMullen Booth even too.
Yeah.
because I-
Oh, yeah, all
I-
these streets, yeah.
There are a couple stops. I
What do
know
they
on
build,
McMullen.
what are they made of, these things?
It would be
Concrete?
steel, it would
Oh.
be steel,
Yeah.
like maybe a steel pipe,
I read that.
4 inches.
Because
Well, it could be,
you know,
that
somebody
doesn't have
doing
to be
too
4
much,
inches in
and,
diameter.
you know, it won't harm the person, but it will harm the car.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Right, to ensure that, but you know what that leads to
Mhm.
is we talked about an ask, and this is one where Cassandra will probably tell me you can't, but,
Mhm.
but ask her if we can,
Mhm.
is I still come back to, I would love for us to try to create a vehicle that is a directory where we can, as TRAC members, put notice into PSTA that these are places where getting off the bus stop or getting on the bus stop is dangerous. So what I call danger zones.
Right,
And so, I'd like to create a directory of danger zones
okay.
and then create a system whereby those things get addressed.
Mhm.
Either like to fix it, or like even on the app, you can put a notification, this is a danger zone, hey, just to make people know, like, this is
Yeah.
not safe for you, and you might wanna go to the next stop, but if you do wait, hey, just know that.
Or take special
Right, precautions.
precautions when
Exactly.
exiting.
You all have Twitter in your smartphone? You tweet at Brad.
Mhm.
I've done it several times.
Right, and then with your phone, you can
Told
take
about
pictures and let them
situations,
know
yeah.
where you are.
Yeah, told about situations.
But we can tweet that, we can send information to PSTA, but I'd like to almost have a directory of it.
Yeah, I
Right,
think-
So
right.
that we,
Because
yeah,
the
you and I
information
can
can be
send a nice
deleted later.
note, but then if we don't, it's really good if it's a directory where it shows that it was called in as this problem, it was addressed, it was
Oh.
fixed,
If there
then.
was a Twitter account for PSTA safety
Mhm.
reports, or
Ooh.
PSTA safety.
Who can build Twitter accounts? Not
Yeah.
me.
That's a PSTA ask, I'm sure that
That's
was going
easy.
to.
Only thing is
Okay.
with Twitter, you can't delete it, so that's just the only thing, but you can actually put up improvements. Like, I do a lot of social media things, so I know that
Okay.
part, and, just you can't delete it, so, and you can delete Facebook, you can delete anything off of
Yeah.
Instagram, but you can't,
Delete Twitter?
nope. So you can't go in and you can't just say, oh, I don't like that, I don't like that they said it on PSTA, you can't go and delete it.
Uh-huh.
So it's there forever. So
Yeah.
then you can just post the improvements, hey, we did this, and
Ah.
that's great for the community to recognize too.
Yeah, and again, we're drilling down on what we'll actually do with it, but I'm just saying, in terms of an ask, is that maybe one of our asks is that we, that one of the things on the ask, I think, is I would like to say, present this problem to the board and say what we're asking for from you is, one, to hear us,
Mhm.
okay, and to hear what we're saying and recognize this. Take a look at it yourselves if you can, ride and see. But the other thing is then give us some guidance on what are some of the things that you feel that we as riders, that we as Transit Riders Advisory Committee, that PSTA as an organization can do to help, repair these situations or address these situations so that it continues to be safer and safer for people to ride public transportation in Pinellas County.
Yeah, I hate to keep pouring all this stuff out.
That's what we're
No,
here for.
that's why we're here.
Uh, One of the things I see a lot is people with those collapsible shopping carts, or people, or mothers with strollers.
Mhm.
And the only place you can put that cart is underneath the handicap seat.
Mhm.
And then if somebody gets out with a wheelchair, you lose a space.
Mhm.
If there was some way that the first 3 rows of the bus on each side had split seats, so you could raise one and put your shopping cart there, so it would be secure, and strollers too, that would be better for mothers. You feel more safer for the kids to be there. I know there's probably a lot of money to do that.
No, I think that's an interesting point, and I think it's a very real problem. But I think, and again, I think that's one of those things where that may be another initiative that that we, in terms of, and again, that's something PSTA will
Yeah,
will be
that's the
able to make
design of the
control.
bus.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah, not for the board, but rather
Right.
from us as Transit Riders Committee saying,
To go back.
we're riding all the time and seeing these problems.
Yeah.
But to take the seat away from someone who wants to get on, and then you're taking away,
Right, right,
and then
right.
giving somebody, but how do you solve both? That's a
Yeah.
great idea. It
Right,
makes
but
perfect
see,
sense.
it either
But it's
takes
the
up a seat
structure of the
or
bus
that.
that has to be reconfigured, which.
I know for several months I had to use a walker because of the accident injuries I had. And there was literally no place to put the walker.
Right, I see that a lot too.
And it was, a lot of times, if you get two walkers on the bus, oh my God.
It blocks them,
Or
especially if they
two
sit in the front.
wheelchairs.
Or two
Oh,
wheelchairs, yeah.
God, that's
The
always
wheelchairs
crazy.
aren't too bad because they put them on the side, you can walk between them unless.
Yeah, but then if there's somebody, if us with wheelchairs and then somebody is on with a walker, then
Yeah, yeah, then it's
we
trouble.
definitely take away space, and I feel bad about it, because it's like, as far as I'm concerned, you can park your wheelchair or your
Yeah,
walker
yes, I
behind
think
me,
that too.
but that's an unsafe situation, I think they don't like to.
That's just an
because I'll
idea.
get beamed.
Right, what other safety issue do you have where it really is out of PSTA's hands? Is there any other
Out
issue
of-
on there that's out of their hands?
Well, I think there are probably, go ahead.
We talked about this before, at Long Center, getting from the east side of Belcher to the west side of Belcher. We need that light that will
Yeah,
stop traffic.
basically, I think what you're talking about is, and that still falls into that whole category of end-to-end safety. But when you're taking a bus, you need to ensure that there is, again, part of the question has to be, how do you have transit riders safely use something? There are numerous situations where
Yeah.
one direction it's safe, the return is not.
Yes.
Getting to the, because,
Yes.
and how often do we have to plan it that way? Where,
Yeah.
like, you've talked about, for me to go to the Long Center, I would have to get care ride to the Long Center, but then I can take the 62 home because it's on the correct side of the road.
Yes.
Whereas if I want to come to it, then I have to cross Belcher where there's
Yeah.
no crosswalk and it's
Oh, yeah.
massively
No, don't do
dangerous. She
that.
does it, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
so there's no light,
I won't even.
okay,
see
there's
what
no light?
happened. No,
no.
but
There's
there's a
not
nice
even
fat
an
train track.
island. Yeah, you do it on train track.
Yeah.
All right, that is a city of Clearwater issue, right?
Yes.
It is,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
something.
Fire
else.
station right
All
there.
right, so that perfect example, and we can add that clearly because that's out of PSTA's control.
Right.
Correct, and that's where that falls into that directory of danger zones.
Right.
To me, I think I would love for us to be able to present to a bucket that these are the sites that we're finding that are dangerous, and then Clearwater, St. Pete, Largo, whoever can take a look at that and come back and say, that's reparable, it's not reparable, it's reparable, but it's too expensive, we don't have the money right now, but, maybe PSTA, you want to move the bus stop from here to here, sometimes it's about putting the bus stop in a different location.
All right, so that's another. Any other?
Just a couple of city, Pinellas Park things.
Okay,
Do you want to hear them?
yes.
Okay.
Those are those
At Belcher and 84th, there's a bus stop, but there's a sinkhole thing happening. And it's been painted as if somebody's going to correct it. Haven't been there in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But it looks like, even joggers and bikers are going ba-bump, or maybe twist an ankle. So somebody needs to take care of it. Like I say, it looks like they're paying attention to it.
Okay.
And then at 66th and 94th Ave, at the bus stop by the fire station on 94th Ave, the ramp is so pitched, I don't dare use it.
Okay.
I'll just cut across the grass
Okay,
because I don't want to be eating dirt
right.
or eating cement.
You
So
don't
that's
take a
another
parachute
spot
with
for
you.
Pinellas Park,
Okay, got it.
and I have it recorded here too.
Okay, good.
And then the countryside ramp. The only thing about that is you can get off on the front side just fine. It's when you come all the way around to the back. So we have to know if we want to go to that mall, you got to get off at the front and go up to the front back where they're going to drop you off. And then I had to learn when we went up there with Sarah, I had to go all the way around to the front, which is not a big deal, but I need to be educated about that.
But yeah, people don't know that, and
Right,
that's exactly what I told that little old lady that I met when I was taking the bus from Tyrone too. I don't. Is Tyrone safe? Can you safely get off the bus at Tyrone and
Yes.
get into the mall? Okay,
Yes.
there is a walkway. Okay.
Oh, yes.
But she said she'd taken the bus to Countryside Mall. She didn't know. She got off the main bus stop, and she
Right,
said,
the
"There's
main bus
no
stop.
way you can get into the mall there." And who knew? You know, and it's like no one ever thought about it, and so that keeps looping us back to.
Right.
I would simply like for our board members to understand, and for us to be able to present this to the City Council of Clearwater, the City Council of St. Pete, so that they all hear us say, you know, when you all are approving things, you need to make sure that it's safety, you know,
It's beyond the stuff.
the safety, that's right, it's not just about the municipal roadways, which, you know, FDOT and everybody else controls, the sidewalks, which you're all controlling, but you are approving or disapproving what the private enterprises are doing, and you have a right to mandate that. I'm not gonna say,
Right.
but we want to ask them to start requiring that, you know,
Right.
they're making sure that everybody has all the handicapped parking spaces. Well, 100% of us are not arriving by car, so we're not arriving at a parking space.
Right.
We're arriving at a sidewalk.
Right, and now that she's brought that up, I'm thinking about the stop where you are going to Countryside, and there's like this big ramp, but then now I'm thinking about, I'm like picturing the parking lot. If I was in a chair, you would have to go all the way around, and there's no sidewalk there.
Right.
And you're gonna be riding on the side of the road where the
You got it.
traffic is going, just for you to get to where I think it's believe Dillard's is. And you either get going there
Yeah,
or right there.
that's right.
Right.
You go in by Dillard's, but you literally
Have
are
to-
driving in active
And they're dodging
car
You are,
lanes.
yes, and now that I'm
It is
thinking
so
about
So
it.
the only way to get into Countryside Mall
Mhm.
safely is there is one single route into that mall safely, and it is on the Macy's side.
Wow.
It's on the
Thank you.
south side of the
And
mall.
who knew?
And if you're not used to the area, you
would
wouldn't. You're not
never
going to
know
stay on the
that.
bus to go back
You
around because you think,
would
oh, that's the
never
only
know
stop.
that.
Because
Right,
you
right.
know, this
And
is my
even
second
that-
year in Florida, so that's how I learned that, and I was
Yep.
scared at
Right.
first because I'm like, do I
Uh-huh.
get off here? Is this the right stop? Oh no, where am I?
So we have enough examples of those.
Oh, we have
to
tons of those
include in
examples.
this.
But and again, I'm not sure that in the letter, do we want to maybe even just have it as an addendum, you know, that these are some examples, maybe we can
Yes.
have it as
It's
a
gotta
list
be
of
apart from the
examples.
letter.
Yes, we can definitely have it apart from the letter, but that will allow us to send it to the city of Clearwater, the head council, the chairman of the council,
Mhm.
not just
Or
the
the
council,
mayor.
but, yeah, the mayor. And then in terms of Countryside, I really think that we should perhaps think about sending it to the director of, is it, no,
No,
I'm trying to think of the
Simon?
name of the wall. No, not
West-
Simon owns Tyrone.
Westfield.
Right.
Westfield.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You know
No,
what,
they think about
Westfield
West-
knows,
Right.
and they
Oh, they
don't care.
Oh, well.
No, and in fact, Chris Cochran will tell you that too,
Oh,
they
oh,
don't care.
Okay, well,
They actually view us as a nuisance, the buses.
Really? Like, we're not cool enough, huh? What?
Yeah.
Our money's never.
And that goes back to what Dave's talking about, I think. People view that's where when we get into the arts and transit, we do have an image problem as riders.
Yeah.
You know, we're all very articulate and we're all clean and all that stuff, but they view riders as being somehow second-class citizens.
You're
Homeless.
right. I was proposing something about a business thing I'm working on, and I was telling the person about it, but because they saw me riding the bus, they didn't take me as seriously. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have certifications, licenses behind everything, and because I'm riding the bus, that's nothing. You know, maybe I don't want to drive,
Right.
maybe I'm scared to drive, or whatever my situation is. But don't sit there and take the fact that I'm on public transportation as anything.
Mm.
Like, it doesn't matter how
well, that
I'm getting
image
there.
has to change.
That's
It has to
They wouldn't do that to you
Yeah.
in New York or Chicago or Boston.
No, and I'm from New Jersey, and nobody looks at you different. They're like, oh,
Right.
whatever, we
Right,
understand.
everyone takes
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Up
In
north-
Philadelphia, my daughter
Right.
doesn't have,
Right.
and lots
part
of,
of life.
and a whole generation
Image.
is changing it now.
Right.
Environment.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can.
Right, because you know, with my generation, we're all about everything's about image. You have to look good. You have to build this facade. But so what? Hey, I love riding the bus. I save a whole ton of money.
Right.
I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about the gas. The only time I really get into the car is if I'm running really late and the bus takes about 2 hours to
Right.
get to my location. Or I'm like, hey mom, I'm at PSTA, can you come pick me up? Because she does work around the corner. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the bus all the way here, but I don't have to take it home.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's convenient, plus
Yeah.
you get to, especially if you're not from the area, you get to see everything, get to know people, have
Absolutely.
conversation, and you get to use Wi-Fi.
That's all absolutely true.
Salesperson.
Yep,
All
yep,
right.
yep. No, we are all believers, and some of that, by the way, can come in when we do the arts in transit,
Mhm.
because that can be about, that can be one of the first
Ooh.
steps on image.
That is a cool idea. Happy people on the bus with their Wi-Fi's in their book and doing their homework and sightseeing. We do,
Yes.
What's
Well,
her
that's
name?
the
Our
stuff
artist
we-
friend,
Yeah, we
Uh,
just
Oh,
talked to
Tanya.
Cindy.
Tanya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanya needs to do some.
Right. Like when I would go to, when I was in school for cosmetology, I would always sit there, let me hurry up and get this done on my workbook. I wouldn't do nails on the bus. I almost tried, but I'm
Yeah,
like, you know
that
what?
would be hard, yeah.
I don't want the dust and stuff, I don't
Yeah.
want to have to clean that up after me. So I'm like, you know what, but it is very convenient when you're working on stuff or even just jotting things down for this committee. It's easy to work on
Well, and
things
it's
like on the
green
bus.
friendly, with saving emissions, you're saving insurance, your whole idea about how much.
Big-
right.
big time
Oh, yeah,
money,
that's always,
big time money.
yeah, we're taking a trip to Europe this summer, and I would
Ah.
say it's because we don't have a second car to support.
Right.
The money that a second car would cost is what we're spending on this trip to Europe.
All right.
That's good, yeah.
And that's something I've been working on as far as budgeting, because I'm getting ready. I want my own car, but then my mom, I just went over the budgets for her as far as insurance. I'm like, wait a minute, mom, I'm not that much of an adult yet. We're just gonna wait a
Well, we
while.
love having you be part of our track, so we want you to drive. Yeah, we don't want.
But I wouldn't even, because like
Yeah.
I'm scared to drive here in Florida. Like
Yeah.
I've been to different places,
Should
and the
be.
way they drive is a lot
Yes.
different. This is the most scariest place to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should
Oh.
be.
Well, New York's
Yes.
pretty bad too, but yeah.
I'm from Jersey, so it's
Yeah.
not as bad. Like that, you can get along with, but here people try to hit you. They really do, depending on their coverage.
Crazy.
We're
Depending
like-
on their car. Oh,
Yes.
Right.
Scammers.
So, okay,
Do
so.
you
La-
want to
last year when I was
keep this
driving
at all?
to
I don't know
Yes.
if you, or do you
I had
want me to
passengers
try to
ask
script
me,
something in
"Does
the
everybody
letter
drive like
format?
that
You
around
want
here?
you and me to
Don't you
talk
have
about it?
police?"
Yes,
How do
what
you
I
like
think
it?
we should do, let me just
Yeah.
go over the
Do they-
intro,
do they
the
hear it?
ending to everyone.
Okay.
Let us know, let me know if you like the intro.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then,
put together the body, you and I can formulate what we've all discussed.
okay,
And bullet point body.
Yeah, bullet
Yeah.
point the body.
okay.
Then
Examples on the back.
I will.
And then, yeah,
Tails,
examples is
tags.
great. I think let's have this as just
Right.
examples. is
We'll
perfect.
go over the recommended organizations to which we're going to send them,
Mhm.
who we're going
And
to copy it
can you,
to.
individualize to Clearwater, to Pinellas Park?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
yes,
Yeah.
we're
Well,
gonna do
yeah, I mean,
that.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention too about as far as safety. If, is I notice an awful lot of junker cars on the road. Cars that are riding on bad tires or
Mm.
windshield or windows are broken in. Those are extremely unsafe. Not only is because of the mechanical issues of the vehicle, but the person riding or driving the car is obviously somebody who doesn't have enough income to keep the car up, which is expensive. And so that makes it dangerous for that person to be out there because they're not driving with a consciousness of safety. They're just kind of trying to get to where they're going.
Mhm.
But here in Florida, you don't have inspections anymore,
Yeah.
so and you're right, but that's,
Right.
yeah.
Once you
Trying to
get
convert them to the
south,
bus system.
Right.
I saw the other day, right up here at 34th Street in Almerton at Wendy's. I stopped in there to use the bathroom, and I felt bad. There was this young mother, and she was probably in her 20s. She was driving this beat-up, old, ragged-up car into her low-paying job, And how safe is that for that person, or for other people, for her to be out on the road? That's just something, one of my
Absolutely.
pet peeves, yeah.
Absolutely.
So image, environment, now where would that fit in?
Well,
well,
Safety,
Safety, oh, yeah,
I mean, it's,
environment, yeah.
when the bus is safe.
yeah.
I
safer
mean,
than
I
a
don't know
junker.
if we could actually
Right.
bring
Yes,
this
there's
up.
some of these things are more than what we can accommodate,
Yeah,
but
well,
they're
Send a note
important
to the,
points.
Yeah.
a letter to the Department of Motor Vehicles and tell them, please, I mean, the other day I was driving and someone had, but the exhaust was just,
Yeah.
I guess they didn't change the oil, the car was nearly on fire and driving, and all that exhaust,
That's-
and they
that's
allow
right.
these cars on the road, so,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's probably
That's out of our purview.
Right.
Right, but here's an intro that can be
Okay,
used
here's-
for all three of our,
Okay.
of our initiatives. Because whoever this goes to, whether it be Countryside, City of Clearwater, Chambers of Commerce, they have to know who we are. We are the Transit Riders Advisory Committee, TRAC, of PSTA. We represent the riders of PSTA and provide insight and recommendations to the PSTA Board of Directors and its committees on operational and transit service issues. Our goal this year is to communicate and garner support for important initiatives related to transit safety, transit regionalism, and art in transit that TRAC members are committed to improving in Pinellas County. This letter will identify certain safety issues that our TRAC members have, called to our attention at our meetings. Then we get into the bullets, the ones we've discussed with locations. Then, our committee meets monthly at PSTA at 4 p.m. on the third Tuesday of the month. We welcome your organization to our meeting to present your feedback and possible solutions to the safety issues we've outlined. The TRAC members also can be a great sounding board for your future projects. We can provide excellent feedback to your leadership, since our members represent all geographic regions and demographics of Pinellas County. Then we can just, it might come from you or.
I like this first part. I would for each of the ones, I would simply do that we're doing certain initiatives.
Right.
This letter is regarding safety, and not even talk about the other two
Oh, don't bring
on
that
this.
With their own letters.
Yeah, each will have their own letters. I would do that.
Right.
And as far as the ask is concerned,
Right.
I feel like I would like to be more specific in terms of our purpose for doing this is we would like to ensure that you hear the perspective of regular riders that you may not be aware of.
Right.
Okay. And what we would like is we would like your feedback about what we have requested here and some of the things that we are proposing, and your recommendations of to whom we can present this information in addition. Because I would love to go to the Clearwater board, the city commissioners, and present this.
Okay.
I would comfortably go to St. Pete, or any of us could go to any of these
Yes.
and say, we're here representing TRAC, and this is what we presented to a board of PSTA.
Yes.
Public
And we have
transportation is a public good.
The bullets,
Yes.
Yes.
particular to that community.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So I want to ask for them, I want them to give us their feedback. Does this make sense to you? Are you aware of all this? Are you hearing us? And then what would they recommend that we do to help address these issues? Because these are beyond what PSTA itself can control, and yet we as transit riders are faced with this. Our board
And we
needs to
need
know.
the community's
And
help.
We need the community's involvement in this very important public good.
Okay. I almost think to have pictures, to actually go to these locations.
That's what I was thinking too.
And have
send
pictures.
I brought that
And
up a little earlier.
I can either, if I can't get the exact picture,
I think I deleted them.
I.
Hey, I can get them again.
Right.
If we can get pictures, we can talk about this after the meeting. As long as we have this all done and ready for next Tuesday's committee meeting, I think visuals of this.
Yeah.
Right,
Very
because it's one thing to
impactful.
say, they're like, oh, they're just saying it, but to give them actual proof.
Yes.
Right.
That's even
Right.
better, and that's how
Because in
it sticks.
95-degree heat, to go around the whole entire Countryside Mall is ridiculous.
Right.
It's
Well, and
ridiculous.
most people wouldn't
Well,
even
but
know
you would
that.
ride the bus all the way around.
But if you're new, you wouldn't.
But if
even
you're
notice
new,
it
then
on
you
the
have
bus.
to-
Yeah.
And sometimes bus
Yeah.
drivers don't communicate that, or some people, don't feel comfortable talking to the bus driver sometimes.
By the way, and it's not just riding the bus all the way around. If you're taking the northbound, if you were taking the 62 to the mall, and you came out at Macy's, the only way you could catch the northbound 62 at that point is to literally drive the sidewalk around the mall to go to the front.
So there is not a solution
There-
for every,
No.
each direction.
Wow.
Right, because certain ones don't have certain bus stops.
Oh, and
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's one of the PSTA issues, is that PSTA does not always address, like we talked about, the Long Center, is that it's safe to have a bus stop on the north and the southbound but it's only safe to take the 62 to the Long Center if you're on the northbound route.
Yes.
Either coming
Yes.
up from the south to the Long Center or
Yes.
leaving the Long Center to go north, but
And-
so the southbound by Long Center is not safe, period.
And some people.
Well, the bus driver saw me when he was stopping at the tracks, and he stopped, and when I crossed, and then he crossed behind me, he was waiting for me at the bus stop.
See,
Very
that's
good,
some
thank you.
things
I waved him
sometimes,
down. He's my
they
friend.
do just overpass you, and you're like, hey.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, my husband complained about that. They tend to notice the wheelchairs, which is kind of weird, 'cause cars don't, but the bus drivers tend to.
Yeah.
be very observant of
Okay,
At
we
least
will-
in Pinellas County they do, right? Not, maybe not Tampa.
us. Yeah, maybe.
I just know that if I'm ever running for a bus, I'll yell at the person getting off, like, hold that bus!
Okay, well, everyone here, I will send a draft of this letter after
Okay.
compiling it and the addendum to all of us.
Okay.
We'll put off finishing touches and then have something final for
Next week.
presentation. Actually, the letter, we may want it by Friday because it gets included in the package that everyone gets.
Okay.
So we want it finalized by Friday.
Right, you
And in terms of, I also made a note of all of this, and this is recorded, that the PSTA asks, in terms of the things that our safety team can address and other things regarding drivers and policy, will be taken up, I mean, we can have safety come and present and handle that differently.
In fact, by the way, we can put that into our letter too, is to say to the board, we are presenting you the ideas, the thoughts, some of these thoughts, because a number of these issues are beyond what PSTA can address.
Right.
We have approached PSTA with ideas for
Right.
for repairing safety issues where they can control it, but many of these things
Right.
are out of PSTA's hands, and they are in the hands of the local municipalities.
Great,
Right.
great idea. Okay, so I guess,
Yes, we can adjourn.
Adjourn.
Thank you so much, all of you, this was
Yes.
wonderful.
It was fun.
Yeah, and at the meeting next week, we can have the letter finalized, but at next week's meeting, people on the committee will undoubtedly have some comments.
they may.
And,
They should.
and they
They may,
can.
and they should.
And as can all of you
Right,
too, you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And so the final won't happen until after next
Think so?
week's
Oh, okay,
meeting.
they think, well,
No, because
I thought they were going to approve the letter to be actually mailed.
we can approve the letter
Mm.
with addendums, the way we do
Oh,
with
okay.
our,
Oh, okay.
with our
Okay.
minutes and stuff like that. But I definitely want the whole
Oh, okay.
committee to agree or not. I mean, I think it's really important that our committee all feel like they're part of this.
Okay, and also, I know you wanted to be involved in the next one, which is regionalism, but after Tuesday's meeting,
Yes.
we'll go from 4 to 5:15.
Yeah.
At 5:30, or approximately 5:30, the regionalism group meeting will take place.
Right,
But they wanted to get that done early,
right.
et cetera, and it will be once again. publicly
Absolutely.
noticed.
Yeah, I think that will.
There was an article in the paper yesterday, I was reading it to the grown-up at Park,
Mhm.
and her name was Mrs. Alden, which is a lot like my name.
Mm.
And she was saying, no, regionalism is a bad idea. We need to keep our separate communities.
Why?
And because she said,
That's
a
what
lot
we
of
want us to do.
good people are working
Mhm.
on,
I gotta use the bathroom
these
real quick.
and I had to leave for the
Right.
bus,
Oh, too bad.
and I didn't take the article with me. And she was saying, that's gonna eliminate jobs. If you make it regional, and then communication,
I don't think so.
yeah, and
No,
then,
and
and the
the-
Where
point
where
is,
did you read this?
St. Pete Times,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Tampa Bay Times.
Okay.
And check yesterday's newspaper.
It's a letter to the editor?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, people love to find
Well,
problems,
yes.
but the thing is that, this.
It's a wave of the future, that's where it's
Right.
going.
It is,
It's Flamingo
and-
fairs, regional, people want to go over.
Well, and the thing is, the population of Florida continues to grow.
Grow,
So
yeah.
there will always be more jobs at this
Right.
point anyway, and so it's like, so you make something more efficient. You just make it easier for people to.
So if I
It's
can-
her opinion.
No, but
Yeah.
thank you.
No, it was an interesting article.
I know.
wish
No,
could
I will
take
look
it.
it up.
Will you try
Yes,
and
I
find
will.
it?
I'll try to find it.
It was
And I'll-
Sunday or yesterday?
Sure.
Maybe
Sure. It's
Saturday.
online, I could look up
Yeah, yeah,
on the
yeah.
archive.
I
Yes.
wonder which one came up with that.
Well, everyone has their own opinion, and,
Right,
and
right,
there's a
right.
reason why. I mean, look at this county. We are the smallest county out of the 61 counties. We're the most populated, and
Uh-huh,
I've
yeah.
lost track of how many different municipalities govern.
Oh, my God, yes.
It's,
Oh, it's crazy.
no wonder nothing gets done, because every municipality has different rules for this, different rules for that.
Film
That's
because I
right.
don't want them to-
Right, everything's
PSTA
different.
serves them all.
It makes it so confusing.